Triatlas, this mysterious interstellar object, is not just a comet, but a frozen stone from a distant star system. He collided with the plasma of the sun and lost his tail. On September 25th, the sun flared brighter than anyone alive had ever seen. For several days, its surface bubbled with dark spots and swirling streams of plasma, like harbingers of an earthquake. But at 3:47 Eastern Time, the tension finally eased. A blinding flash swept across the sun's disk, and a colossal loop of superheated gas rose 10,000 miles high, then detached and surged into space. This phenomenon is known as a coronal mass ejection. It was not just bursts of heat. Billions of tons of electrified plasma, saturated with magnetic fields, moved at speeds exceeding 1/60th of a million miles per hour. The scientists monitoring the real-time broadcast noticed their sensors exceeded the red zone. The instruments assessed that the explosion amounted to about 1.2 trillion megatons of kinetic energy, a magnitude hard to comprehend. Think of every nuclear bomb ever created by humanity, multiplied by 20 million. Or imagine the energy released by the asteroid impact that wiped out the dinosaurs. Now imagine 20 such bombs exploding simultaneously, concentrated in a small point of space. Models of space weather showed that a shock wave rolled through the inner solar system like a blazing hurricane, targeting Triatlas, a massive green interstellar object approaching Mars, causing concern among scientists for months. It was already significantly heavier than any known comet, over 33 billion tons, with a core diameter of more than 5 kilometers. Its green glow emanated from gases and metals that should not be in the tail of an ordinary comet: carbon, nickel, cobalt, and compounds resembling industrial emissions more than cosmic ice. And now, at the moment of its closest approach to the sun, it was about to encounter the most powerful solar storm ever measured. Astronomers gathered in the control rooms of Hawaii and the Canary Islands, anxiously staring at their screens. It is known that comets lose their tails or even disintegrate under the influence of much smaller coronal mass ejections. This one was an order of magnitude stronger. The impact of stellar plasma could tear apart the magnetosphere of a gas giant with such force that it could twist Earth's magnetic field into a knot and break it. When the coronal mass ejection finally occurred, the spectacle was instantaneous and shocking. The green tail of Triatlas snapped like a whip. The glowing stream burst forth and vanished into the solar wind in less than a minute. His bright coma, a glowing gas halo around the core, suddenly collapsed as if someone had pulled the plug. The spectrographs of the Chilean Ruben Observatory recorded a sharp drop in the brightness curve. The readings from the pre-Doppler filter of NASA's deep space communication captured an astonishing slowdown, from a dizzying 37,000 bells per hour to just 5,000, as if an invisible hand had suddenly hit the brakes. At its first appearance, the powerful green guest looked like a dark, inert lump helplessly drifting towards the sun. In the observatory, researchers and spectators erupted in applause. Months of restless nights filled with panic seemed to dissolve in an instant. Its fleeting mass and green glow, passing by Mars, the whispers of anxiety, and the planetary ship of the Mother, all this neutralized our sun. It resembled the finale of a cosmic horror film, where the monster finally burns in the last catastrophe. But then, the impossible happened. Exactly 2 hours and 7 minutes after the collision with a coronal mass ejection, a faint flicker appeared in the center of the darkened masses. It pulsed once, twice, and then flared up fiercely, a bright beacon capable of overloading detectors. Sensors on a solar orbital spacecraft of a European space company detected a surge of radiation, the same signature of nickel, cobalt, and diatomic carbon as before, but stronger, richer, and unmistakable. At one thrilling moment, a new tail burst forth from the core, perfectly symmetrical, emerald green, and even brighter than the original. Then the speed readings jumped to 10,000, then 50,000, then 100,000, until the object sped away at an altitude of 37,000 meters on its way to Mars, as if nothing had happened. What people witnessed defied physics. A natural comet cannot be struck by a plasma wave powerful enough to melt planets and then effortlessly restore its tail and speed. Even the strongest magnetic fields of any planet in our solar system would be torn apart by such an explosion. And yet there was a three-eyed object with an emerald tail, moving at full speed as if drawing its power from the fury of the sun rather than being destroyed by it. The scientists froze, staring at their screens, engulfed in silence. No natural comet could restore its tail and regain its former speed in minutes, especially after being struck by a plasma wave capable of scorching oceans. Even the most powerful planet in our solar system would be destroyed by such a blow. And yet there was a three-eyed object with an emerald tail, blazing and moving at full speed, ignoring physics as if it had no relation to it. Lopi explained it in simple terms. For several weeks leading up to September 25th, NASA's Solar Dynamics Observatory recorded strange patterns on the surface of the sun. Tiny magnetic earthquakes lined up along the sun's country, facing 3 eyes of the flare. According to him, it looked as if something was poking or tickling the sun's magnetic field until it broke. For him, the time of the coronal mass ejection was not random. It seemed that the 3 protrusions knew exactly when the eruption would occur, or even provoked it themselves. He compared it to a ship at sea, raising its sails to catch the gusts of wind. But in this case, the wind represented billions of tons of plasma and magnetic fields powerful enough to tear the air from the planet, instead of destroying 3 fragments. Perhaps they unfurled their sails and absorbed this force. "We have never seen anything like this," said Lowe. "If it is a comet, then it must have a powerful system beyond our understanding." Lowe's working hypothesis was that the object was not a snowball made of ice and dust, but a giant machine enveloped in an invisible shield. Imagine a huge magnetic bubble, or a super powerful electromagnetic net surrounding it. Such a bubble could wrap around solar plasma, absorbing energy and directing part of it inward. Thus, a coronal mass ejection that should have been a fatal event would actually become an opportunity for refueling. He even contemplated the type of engine capable of this. One option, according to him, could be a thermonuclear engine with an unknown dark matter catalyst. For ordinary thermonuclear fusion, like in our sun, incredible heat and pressure are required. But if something unusual could be used to simplify nuclear fusion, a power plant could be launched in space, using its own solar plasma as fuel. On Earth, this sounds like speculative physics, but it is a logical path for a civilization that has existed for millions of years. In such a system, a coronal mass ejection would become free fuel rather than a death sentence. Lowe also presented compelling evidence supporting his hypothesis, based on a reanalysis of Hubble's data and ground observations. Measurements of polarization indicated an extraordinarily smooth surface of the subcomet, unlike the uneven cometry or icy surfaces known in astronomy. Radar data from Goldstone showed a weak lattice structure, inconsistent with a natural body. The mass distribution of the object, a dense outer ring and a hollow inner cavity, matched what one would expect from a giant shell rather than a solid core. If we gather all this data together, the simplest explanation is that we are dealing not with a natural object, but with a machine using our star as an energy source. The strange pulsating brightness may be a result of throttling its thermonuclear engine under the influence of solar energy, and its apparent swelling could be due to the collection of planetary material. The ship is refueling in midair. This would explain why it seemed to grow larger as it approached the sun, why its gas composition resembled industrial alloys, and why it ignored the powerful plasma storm as if it were unaffected. The numbers confirmed the alarming assumptions. After the coronal mass ejection, Tria became something more than just a living object. It became brighter, heavier, as if drawing power from the sun. Its mass exceeded 33 billion tons. The magnetic field readings from interplanetary probes sharply increased. Instruments monitoring Mars's orbit detected a barely noticeable but measurable shift, several hundred meters over a few days. For the first time in recorded history, an object beyond the solar system influenced a planet. But as Tria passed its new perihelion, scientists discovered something even stranger. The orbit of Mars has shifted significantly, measurable by several hundred meters, prompting an update of planetary ephemeris models to account for a new gravitational or magnetic anomaly. The consequences were shocking. The magnetic field of Triae was so strong that it could attract an entire planet. Even more alarming was the fact that its flight path formed an unmistakable hyperbola. Unlike planets, comets, or asteroids that follow closed ellipses held by the sun's gravity, the open trajectory of the interstellar object means it is completely unaffected by its pull. If its magnetic field continues to grow as it approaches Mars, the red planet may be slightly pulled from its stable orbit. Over time, even a minor disturbance could trigger a cascade of changes, disrupting the orbital resonances of the inner solar system. This slow, invisible push can lead to chaos. Meteor storms rushing towards Earth, whole groups of asteroids hurled inward, and Mars itself drawing closer with each turn. In the most extreme models, the path of the red planet may intersect with Earth after several orbits, creating a real possibility of planetary collision or a chain of impacts unseen since the formation of the solar system. Even without a direct impact, gravitational disturbances can irreversibly distort the orbits of Earth and Mars, disrupt tides and seasons, turning the inner solar system from a predictable mechanism into a cosmic billiard table where no world is safe. No known comet is capable of this. No known natural object has the mass and strength of an active field to change planetary orbits. Even Jupiter, with its mass 318 times that of Earth, cannot shift Mars from its course at a distance of millions of kilometers. To achieve such an effect, an object must possess a magnetosphere billions of times more powerful than Earth's, and an energy source comparable to that of a star. In other words, such technologies surpass everything we can imagine. Currently, all attention is focused on flybys near Mars. In a few days, the spacecraft Atlas will be just 1/60th of a million miles from the red planet. Space agencies have aimed all available telescopes and probes at this event. There is eager anticipation to see if a magnetic anomaly can be recorded. If Mars continues to wobble, the consequences for Earth could manifest immediately. However, Loba admits that our most advanced planetary defense systems will be useless against an object of such scale. Nuclear weapons, kinetic strike devices, and even exotic gravitational manipulators are designed for asteroids several hundred meters in diameter, but not for an alien megastructure 5 kilometers in size. Do you believe that Friotlas is a natural interstellar comet, or is it really alien technology that collects energy from our sun?